Yeah, yeah. I'm living my best life. Made a couple M's, you know. Said I'm living my best life. Said I'm living my best life.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Random Opinions, Reaction, and Reviews. And if you don't know who I am by now, you gotta get with the program. Today, I'm coming to do a review on the episode that aired on General Hospital. Today's date is August 12th. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, today we start off with a scene between Stella, Sonny, Mike, and Carly. Right? And everybody is preparing for Mike's wedding. Sonny is supposed to officiate the wedding. Everybody's happy, but Sonny at the same time, he feels a little burdened, sad because his father doesn't know who he is. And Stella comforts him as he talks to her and tells her, I wanted to share this moment with my dad, but he doesn't know who I am. And she says, you can still share this moment with your father. It may not be the way you wanted it to be, but you're still sharing this moment with him. And there's one person that's hurt worse than Sonny, and that's Marcus. And he shows up with Yvonne's favorite dress. And he says, what? I envy you guys, Carly and Sonny, because your father, you get to see him be happy and marry the woman that he loves. But that woman that he loves is my wife. And I have to sit back and allow her to be happy, but it's hurtful at the same time. So Stella decides to take him out to eat to Charlie's, right? So they go to Charlie's and she gets an alert on her phone. I guess the unknown mystery relative wants to meet with her. So that's good. We're going to be seeing who that is, I guess, shortly. But Sonny and Carly get to talking a little bit at the nursing home, and Carly tells Sonny, you should be happy for your dad, period, point blank. Your dad is happy. It's a gift that he's happy. And he's not troubled. And Sonny, he knows all of this. It's just that he wanted to be there and he wanted his dad to know him. And then Mike and Sonny get to talking, and Mike even brings up Sonny. He was thinking about his son even then, and I think Sonny took comfort in that. Mike didn't know that he was talking to Sonny, but the fact that he had Sonny on his mind, I think it helped Sonny a little bit. So I'm kind of happy for Mike. He's gonna live out his last days, and he's gonna be a married man with the woman of his dreams. We get scenes today between Kim and Julian. They're discussing their move to New York, and then Lucy Cole shows up, and I guess she's gonna be selling Charlie's. And Christina overhears, and she's like, "Is this true?" Julian is like, "Yeah, but I wanted to tell my staff members on my own merit sometime tonight." So Lucy pretty much just blew everything out of the water, and Christina ended up finding out. So I liked that the little brief scene Julian had with Christina. When he said, "Are you gonna miss me?" And she says to him, "You've been more than fair." I liked it, this scene. It was like I said, if you blink, you would have missed it, but I liked it. Because these two have come so far. Christina didn't like Julian at one point, and then he was the first person to give her a break with no stipulations. When she went missing, he gave her job back without asking any questions. She asked him for like $10,000. He gave it to her. So Julian has proven to be a good friend. Christina doesn't know how Alexis is going to take everything. So she's like, "Hey, did you tell my mom?" And Julian is like, "No, I have not told your mom." And while they're talking, Alexis shows up. He tells her, "I'm moving to Manhattan with Kim." And you could tell she was just so sad. I feel like Alexis feel like she's losing everybody in her life that she was close to at one point. And right now she has nothing to grasp onto. So, especially the men that she's loved, like Julian, she actually shared a bond with this guy. Yes, they ended on bad terms, but she actually loved Julian. So I know she was kind of sad, and it took her, kind of back. She even lets Kim know, "Look, you've been good for Julian. And I wish you guys the best of luck." And Kim tells her, that means more than anything. It was just sad. It was just sad. We have a scene today where Alexis meets with Kevin, and she is wanting to see him as her therapist now. And she gets to talking to him about Neil, and the boundaries were crossed so many times, and it just became a blurred relationship where they couldn't continue their patient provider relationship. And Kevin's like, well, I'm sorry, Alexis. I have bad news for you. You know, I can refer you to another provider, but I won't be able to see you either because it's a clear conflict of interest. And she's like, dang, why do all my therapists keep dumping me? And he didn't give her a reason because, you know, that would have been violating HIPAA if he said, well, you know, I can't do this because Neil is my patient. So while she's walking out with her head hung down, she runs into Neil. And she's like, okay, it makes sense now. Let me put two and two together. You're clearly his patient, and that's the conflict of interest. This is why he can't see me. And that's when she went off to Charlie's and stuff. So while they're at Charlie's, she's talking to Christina and Julian and Kim. Neil shows up. And Christina, y'all, she kicks into matchmaker, I don't know, Cupid. She kicked into something. She's like, let me get you guys some coffee. Sit down. And Neil and Alexis, they feel so kind of like awkward in front of each other. You know, when they talk to each other, it's like, but Alexis was the same way with Julian. If you guys remember their early relationship, Alexis, every time she would run into Julian and, you know, stumble, and I don't know, she was very ditzy around him because she was feeling him. And that's how she is with Neil now. And they're both like, oh yeah, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea to sit and conversate. Let's just get our coffee. They sit at two opposite tables, you guys, but they glancing back at each other, back and forth. I'm like, yeah, y'all feeling each other. Like, y'all might as well just go ahead, get down and dirty, because y'all is clearly feeling each other. Might as well go ahead and give it a try. Neil also meets with Kevin, and he tells Kevin, look, all I'm going to say is, Neil feels attracted to Alexis as well. And Kevin wants to know, you know, where is this gonna go now that you guys don't, now that you're not her therapist any longer? And Neil is kind of afraid to step out on a limb and be in a relationship or even try a relationship again, because he hasn't been with anybody since his divorce. So it would be interesting to see where they go from here. Cam is upset. He's at the park. He's sad. It's just a sad situation. He's sad about what happened to Franco, and then Jocelyn and Trina show up. And he runs through the spiel of what happened and how he was kidnapped. And at first they thought he was joking. And it was cleared from his facial expression and the way he said things that he was serious. And they listened to him, and he feels very responsible for what happened to Franco, you know? And they, especially Jocelyn, was telling him, this is not your fault. You know, how could you have known that the person that you were reaching out to help was a psychopath? You know, you are a good person. Only person is responsible is Shiloh. So they were being good friends to him. Those were nice scenes today. I thought it was sad because Cam also said, you know what, like, I made a big mistake by getting in that car, because I could have tried to fight him off. I could have tried to run. You know, he was singing his shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And it's like, Cam, if you had fought him off, you never know what would happen. This guy was very trigger happy, clearly. He takes advantage of children and women. He probably would have shot you, Cam. You did what you had to do, and you made the right move. Now, dealing with the fallout might be hard, but you can deal with it. You can do it, dude. That's all I'm going to say. Drew and Laura have a brief moment talking about Franco. Laura is like, yes, Franco is a hero. She is thankful that nothing happened to Cam. And I think it kind of changes the light of how she feels about Franco as well, because she was at the hospital being very supportive to Elizabeth during her time of need. You know, she even neglected her mayoral duties to be there with Elizabeth, but Elizabeth told her, like, you know what, I have enough support here, go ahead and do your job, do what you have to do. So she eventually ended up leaving. But before she left, you know, she talked to Elizabeth, and Franco did what he had to do. Also filling her in on how the boys were doing. The boys were okay. You know, she's been at the hospital nonstop with Franco since this has happened. So, you know, she's had a lot of support, people coming in to help her with her children. So that's good. It's good that Elizabeth has a support system. So like I said, Liz is at Franco's bedside. And it was sad because Epiphany is like, look, Liz, you need to go home. You're a nurse. You already know the rundown. Go home, get you some rest. She didn't want to do it. Epiphany is like, is there anything I can help you with? And this woman says, and it was so heartbreaking, says, Epiphany, yes, can you tell him to wake up? He always listens to you. And I'm like, I don't even care about Franco and Liz, but that moment got me. I'm like, oh, she's so in love with him. Like, oh. Anyway, Epiphany knows that there's nothing she could do. So she tells Elizabeth, you know what, Franco is a hero, and she walks out. And that's good coming from Epiphany, because Epiphany hasn't been one to give Franco a compliment, So that was kind of good. And Elizabeth is like, Franco, look, you need to keep your promise. You said you were coming back to us. Please come back to me. Fight to wake up. And Laura was able to whisk her off on a break. They walk around GH. They talk and they talk and they talk. Drew has a brief moment with Franco, and he's talking and thanking Franco, letting him know that the boys are going to be okay. He is a hero. Drew leaves his medal, some badge that he acquired when he was in Afghanistan, because he feels like Franco deserved it. While he's talking to Franco, the alarms start to go off. So Epiphany and Kevin both run in, and they're realizing that Franco is starting to stabilize. He is beginning to wake up. And he wakes up, and I thought it was so funny because he's like, water. And so they got him water. That was the first thing he said. But he knew, where he was. He was at the hospital. It's clear, you guys, that he believes that he's Drew. So Elizabeth, when she found out that Franco was awoke, she decides to burst into the room. And you guys, according to tomorrow's previews, he's not going to know who she is. And okay, yeah, because he is Drew Kane 2K12. So of course he's not going to know who she is. But I don't know what's going on, you guys. Like, I don't know. I did want to mention that Julian and Kim are planning to move, like I said before. And they asked each other, like, are you sure you want to do this? And they both said they wanted to move. But that hug that Julian gave when he hugged her and they zeroed in on his face, it looked like he just jumped into this too fast because of his love for Kim, and he didn't think this clearly through, because he has grandchildren, he has a small child, he has a bunch of relatives in Port Charles, and he will be uprooting to move across. He's not moving across country because he's going to be a couple hours away from Port Charles. That way he can just jump up and go back to his family and visit them when need be. But he's going to be leaving his family, and I don't think he really wants to do that, but he feels the need to be there for Kim. So I don't know. To me, it just felt like the look on his face, he didn't want to leave. I guess we'll find out in episodes to come, but you guys let me know what you thought about today's episode. Let me know if you agree with anything that I said, what you disagree about. I am here for it. Don't forget, give me a big thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye.
I finally made my mind, know that I can't go back broke. They saying that my time up, my back against the rope. I hustle, got my grind, know that when I'm